Hey, Central Oregon, I'm Kerri Stewart, and welcome to my window. Well, we are riverside this week in Bend, partaking in some of the almost summer weather. And while road and mountain bikes seem to be most prevalent in these parts, we tend to forget about one of the fastest growing segments in the bike industry, and that is BMX. John Hammarley headed to Redmond to meet up with some BMXers racing against people at their own skill level. And they say that's only one part of BMX racing that makes it fun.
Just mentioned bike racing, and a lot of people think of the Tour de France.
All right, this may not be the Tour de France, but this is definitely bicycle racing. This is BMX racing.
BMX bike racing used to be huge in the late 70s and 80s with different dirt tracks and riders and even teams all over the place.
Now it's going to be Dale and Keith with the lead.
But with hard economic times came a hard landing for BMX's popularity.
Nobody really hears about BMX, and especially our track. If you tell people there's a BMX track in Redmond, they won't know where it's at. So, where we're at, I think has been kind of a challenge for us. But I think since we've become an Olympic sport, there's more people learning about it. We don't get the push like the high school sports do, or say soccer. So we're kind of a road racing kind of.
But slower than some of today's riders are jumping, interest in the sport is rising once again.
It doesn't scare me because I'm not nervous. It's just because you're just racing and other people are watching other people.
Barely 8, Banyan Howell is already a nationally ranked BMXer from Central Oregon, and he's been rolling and vaulting undulating courses in several states almost since he was 4.
Well, the part that makes me so good is that I just go for it and I just take the chance sometimes.
Coming out of the tower turn, heading into doubles for the road.
For Denise, BMXing germinated in her youngest and worked its way up.
My son came out and raced, and he was hooked. And then my daughter decided she wanted to race too. So she got hooked, and then I decided, well, that was kind of interesting. I think I might start racing, so I started racing. And then my husband was trying to tell us what to do when we were racing, so we said, you need to start racing because we're tired of you telling us what to do. So it was a whole family event. We've been doing it ever since.
Ricky Reed used to ride BMX bikes professionally. And then he became a dad and said, I got to get back on the track.
It's a really big workout. I had to get back into shape when I came back out here. So it's every time we're on the track, even though it's only that 30 seconds, you're giving it your all, so every muscle's working.
I've always wondered why the seats on the BMX bikes were so low. But Ricky says they're almost an afterthought.
The only time you sit down is before the cadence starts in the gate. Otherwise, you're up off your seat the whole time. If you end up sitting down, it'll probably brock you off over your seat.
While some of the action is fast and furious, not only are parents helpful on the track, but they actually encourage their track competitors to get up and toughen up.
It's one of the few sports where a child gets hurt and you hear parents yelling, get up and paddle, get up and paddle. Because the parents aren't allowed onto the track while the races are going on. So usually the kid will get right back up and start pedaling.